which gives us a total of ish for accommodation, flights and spending. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. I haven't sat and filmed a video literally in forever now, like forever ever, like actually couldn't tell you I don't do this anymore, I vlog. But sorry, my bed as well is so jarring, so sorry if you keep hearing that. I've also got an iced coffee with no ice, which is just not a vibe at all. But if you're new to my channel, this is the first video you're watching. If you found this because you're looking for Bali advice, I have just spent the whole of June in Bali, planned it all ourselves and stuff. Me and my two best friends went. So this is kind of a rundown because I've had so many questions about it, so many questions about pricing. So I'm going to basically tell you every single penny we spent and where we went, how we planned our route, what we spent our money on, where we could have saved a lot of money, and just general questions that a lot of you guys have asked over on my Instagram. I have vlogged the whole entire trip. I think there's 7, maybe 8. I think there's 8 or 9 vlogs actually. So they're all on my channel if you want to go and watch them. I vlogged like each separate place that we went to. So I'm going to try and keep the video really short and snappy because I have a tendency to talk on. I literally want this to be like 10 minutes of pure information that you guys can actually use and is actually going to be helpful for you. So let's get straight into it. How much did we spend in Bali and how much did our whole entire trip cost us? Because I feel like this is what most people are interested in. I'm not even going to give a disclaimer because obviously this was all my money. I worked. Nothing on this trip was gifted either. We worked very hard and went to Bali and had a load of fun. So our flights, we were super lucky. Well, at the time we thought we weren't lucky because 4 days before, I'm like if I could keep one app on my phone, it would be, we actually used is that how you say it? I accidentally paid 60 quid for this app when we went to Rome, and it's actually come in handy. It is the app I use most on my phone to check flights. And yeah, I'd been checking them every single day because we really wanted to go, and they were about $5.50, which is unreal, and I knew that was unreal, so I really wanted to book them. And then about 4 days later, everyone was like, okay, fuck it, let's do it. And within that 4 days, Bali had like officially kind of opened their borders, so we ended up paying £798 each for our flights. That's with bags and with seats. That might sound stupid, but you have to. They were £700, I think, without seats, or like $750 without seats. But it's an 19 hour flight, and for obvious reasons we want to sit next to each other. So we paid £800 for our flights with Malaysian Airlines. We stopped at Malaysia. We were supposed to stop for an hour. On the way back it got changed to 7 hours. So I'm hoping we do actually get a bit of a refund, but they've still not answered me, and I did email them now 12 days ago, but that's irrelevant. So our flights were £800. On our accommodation, this is where we definitely splurged, where we didn't have to. So we stayed in 3 Airbnb, like big villas, 2 bedrooms, 2 double beds. So someone had their own room for the first like 2 weeks of the trip. Completely private villas with our own pool, with our own kitchen, everything for 2 weeks. And then we stayed in like hotels and homestays and stuff. But we spent £486 each for our accommodation for a month, which is absolutely amazing still. And we went like pretty luxury. If you watch the vlogs, like you'll see, especially for the first 2 weeks, we were in some unreal places. But yeah, definitely a bit luxury, but still so reasonable. Like you would pay over that for a week in Greece or something, or a week in Spain. So spending roundabout, obviously I don't have the exact, well, this is pretty much exact. We spent about 1,400, well, I personally spent about £1,400, I think. So just a bit of a breakdown, because obviously I bought my flights to Greece while I was in Bali. I bought various different presents. I sent someone money for some work they did for me, like little bits and bobs. So I excluded all of that from my spending, and that's kind of the figure I was left with. £500 of that we took out in cash. So that's taxis, boats, and like some food and bits and bobs like from shops and whatever. But that was mainly, I would say, taxis, yeah, boats from like Gili and Noosa and stuff, and little bits of food, because in Noosa and Gili you'll struggle with card. They don't really take card a lot of places. So yeah, £500 cash, and then eating out from that money was still £562 on my card. Maybe make that slightly less because when I took these numbers, the girls still owed me for like a few of the last days, so maybe around like $550, maybe around like $520-ish of that was still food. So we're talking like £1,000 of it was like food, taxis, boats and stuff like that, which is kind of all you really need. So then I just wrote down things like we spent £25 on a water park, we spent £20 on our 3G for the month, and we spent £25 on a visa. So even that then is like £100. So just little things. I got a tattoo that cost me like 40 quid. Yeah, random little bits and bobs like that. I'd say I probably spent around like 50 quid on like buying little bits and bobs out there. So yeah, which gives us a total of 2,600-ish for accommodation, flights and spending. Definitely could have done it so much cheaper. We did not skim at any point. And when I say food as well, I mean food and alcohol. So that's like nights out, beach clubs, like everything is under like food. We spent a lot more than we kind of needed to. Like we didn't, yeah, like I say, go kind of cheap at anything. We spent a lot of money in fins. We spent quite a lot on like food. Like, yeah, we just didn't go stingy really. We ate a lot more like Indonesian food towards the end, which is obviously a lot more reasonable in price. We were still spending like £7 a dinner for like pizzas, drinks and whatever. So like to us it was a good price, so we didn't really care to go too cheap. But what I'm saying is you definitely don't have to spend that much on accommodation or food. If you're like going out to the TikTok spots and whatever, like obviously you're going to spend that much money. You're going to spend more money even. But just finding cute little cafes and stuff, and like booking villas and stuff was a lot easier. I know you can do the same with hostels, because in Ubud we ate all of our breakfast. Well, we just got cereal and we just got like noodles for lunch that we cooked and stuff, so that was super easy. Yeah, you could do it cheaper. I know flights are way more expensive now, so all in all you'll probably spend the same price if you have more expensive flights and do a bit cheaper when you're out there. But yeah, 2,600-ish for flights, accommodation and all of our spending each, that is. And then I thought I'd just give you a little rundown of our itinerary. We did 4 nights in Seminyak, 4 nights in Canggu, 6 nights in Ubud, 3 nights in Nusa Ceningan, 2 nights in Nusa Pendia, 3 nights, no, we did 4 nights in Gili T, didn't do Gili yet, and then did 4 nights in Uluwatu as well. So Ubud you definitely don't have to spend 6 nights, but you definitely can. So it's completely up to you. Like you could do it all in like 3 days, but our villa was really beautiful. Would do 3 nights in Gili T. I think after 4 we were bored, but we stayed 1 more night because Imogen was quite ill, so we just wanted to like make sure we made the most of it while we were there. We spent 4, to be honest, we were bored by the end. Nusa Pendia I would spend more than 2 nights because we got there, kind of like chilled on the first day, had a really good first night, did a big day trip and then left, so we didn't really see much. I would have liked 3 nights there. Nusa Ceningan is across the bridge from Nusa Lembagong. Is that how you say it? You could definitely spend like a night or 2 in Lembagong. We didn't bother, we just like took the bridge over and went out 1 day and 1 evening. But yeah, I think that was a pretty solid itinerary, and I just googled like 30-day Bali itinerary and kind of tweaked it because I had been before, so I kind of knew where we should go, where I wanted to go, how long I kind of wanted to spend in certain places. Like I knew where I wanted to go, and then I just used like online 30 days itinerary to kind of help me decide like how long we would spend. And I say me because I did pretty much plan our itinerary. But yeah, I think Bali's a really easy one. There's loads of stuff on TikTok. I'm sure from TikTok you kind of have an idea of where to go, and if not, there's so much online. But that was a pretty solid itinerary in my opinion, and I don't know if I went somewhere again I would fully book and plan the whole thing, just because I probably would, but there was times where we were like, oh, I wish I had an extra day here or whatever. But it is easy enough to change. If you're booking on things like booking.com, you can change right up until like 2 days before, so it is easy enough to change. Like we did change 2 of our plans and it was easy enough to do, like it didn't matter. So let me just get to some of the questions and I'll whiz through these. Easiest way to get around and cost of transport. So I'm pretty sure within the main like land of Bali, we're pretty sure there's something like local taxis, because we were kind of screwed one night and went out to Echo Beach from where we were staying in Canggu. We got there for like 50k. So the exchange rate is 18,000. 18k is £1. So when I talk about things, I'll like try and translate, like do the conversion in my head, but just for reference. So we got there for like 50k, like £2.50-ish. And then there was a celebration for the next like few days, and it kind of started that night and we didn't know. No one kind of said to us. Not that it's anyone's like fault to, but the taxi drivers are really chatty and just no one had mentioned it and we didn't really know. It wasn't obvious that something was going on, so yeah, we just didn't really know. And he was like, oh, you're outside the local taxi thing now, and charged us like quite a lot of money to get back. I think we paid 150k in the end, which I say is a lot of money. It was like £7.50. The drive was also like a good 25-minute drive, but in Bali that's quite expensive. But obviously we were okay with that because £7.50 for like to get home between us all is not a big deal when we were like a bit screwed. So we just kind of got in a taxi, didn't bother bartering too much, didn't bother waiting for another one because it was the first one we'd seen in like 10 minutes. Anyway, so easiest way to get around is Grab and Gojek. I can't remember what I was just saying, but yeah, that was the one time we had a bit of an issue. But the first few days we were kind of just like stepping out on the street, and like you could easily get in these taxis, like a Bluebird taxis. There was things on TikTok about like the darker blue ones that are like Burrow Bird, not Bluebird or something, or like Blue Burrow or something, were like bad ones. We didn't have a single bad taxi experience. One time we were getting a taxi down to Finn's, and there wasn't like taxis as such, but it was like I said, like one of the celebration days. But I think everyone there kind of just like, if they see people, they'll like just be a taxi and like give you a lift, and it's literally not dodgy. Obviously use your wits, but there was literally not a single time we felt uneasy in a taxi. At the beginning we were like, we should have like a code word in case one of us just feels whatever, and we'll just get out the taxi. It doesn't matter if we agree or not, we'll just like get out. And literally not once did we ever feel uncomfortable. Once we were like, yeah, to Finn's, how much? Like 30k, which was quite generous as well, because we were paying 50 to go like a good 20-minute drives away, and this literally was like a 3-minute drive. And he was like, yeah, okay. And then we got there, and then like we gave him 30, and he was like, no, 50. And we were like, you said 30. So we gave him 40 and just got out of the taxi, and he didn't even try and like keep us in, like the doors were wide open. We were just like, here you go, have 40 then. Sorry for the miscommunication, and got out. But Grab and Gojek are like Ubers. The easiest way to get around is bikes, but we kind of found, because there was 3 of us, by the time we'd ordered 3 bikes, we may as well have just ordered a taxi. Like we were paying like 15k each. Taxis were like 45 or less sometimes. Easy, like easy enough. Grab and Gojek are the way forward. We did have a problem like doing it with our UK numbers at first, but like after 3 days we tried again and it just worked. But if it doesn't work, just contact customer service and they'll just like let you in. Normal taxis have a minimum 50k, which we found out literally on the last day, but we'd been paying that anyway, but that's why they won't go below that. But Grab and Gojek, you can literally get around for like 26 to like 40. They're super easy in Ubud and Uluwatu. They're a bit harder to come by in Seminyak and Canggu. Did you always feel safe? Like I said, there actually wasn't genuinely one moment in the whole of my Bali experience where I could say like I actually felt unsafe. The Balinese people are the nicest people in the world. Like I said, obviously keep your wits about you. There was one time we were in a bar and they were like giving us shots. Like it was literally just us and like the Balinese men that were like the band for the night, and then like all of the workers, like we were the only people in this bar, and we were just like dancing with them, having so much fun. And they went to give us a shot and we were like, oh, like you sip it first. And they were like, oh, you girls shouldn't assume the worst of us, and then like did half the shot and was like, here you go. And we were like, oh yeah, that's so fair, we shouldn't assume the worst of you, but you know, we've got to keep our wits about us, we can't just be silly naive. But there literally wasn't a single time I felt unsafe, whether it was in a taxi, whether it was in a bar, whether it was walking on the streets at night. There literally was not one, I'm not joking, not one time that we felt unsafe, and literally nothing bad to us happened the whole entire time. Nothing got stolen, nothing dodgy happened, no one took a dodgy drink, nothing. Literally we had the best time in terms of like safety and feeling safe. There was a few times where at the beginning taxis were dropping us off at the wrong place because it was hard to find, but they were super helpful and like would just keep you in the car until we found it. But there was one time we felt bad because we've been driving around, he couldn't find it, and we were like, look, we know where we are in terms of walking, so we'll just get out. And even that walk was probably the one time I felt a bit booky, but it's because it was like pitch black and I still felt safer than I would walking in the UK. Like I wouldn't actually walk that in the UK, whereas there I didn't care. Best clothes to take and what did you not wear? So I didn't wear 2 fancier dresses that I bought. I wish I had more daytime stuff to like throw over for like beach clubs and stuff. I wish I took less shoes, so I took a cream pair of sandals that broke, which if they didn't broke I would bring again, like they were so comfy. But other than that I had a pair of sandals, I had my Air Force that I wore, I had a pink pair of like cuter sandals that I put in last minute because Imogen and Gabby had cute sandals and I wanted cute sandals, didn't wear them once. And then I had Primark like flip-flops, Birkenstocks and black sandals. I wore my black sandals and my Birkenstocks the whole entire time, did not need the pink, did not need the cream, threw away my Air Force halfway through. The Primark flip-flops are super handy. So I'd probably bring like a flip-flop, some form of like slider, like a bit of a sturdier like my Birkenstocks, and then a sandal. Like I'm not planning on bringing any other shoes now on any of my other travels, literally a Birkenstock, my black sandals, and maybe like a proper flippy flop that can get like wet and stuff. So yeah, that's probably it. And I'd bring way less bits. Like I had the whole bottom of my backpack was like just like bits, like a disposable camera I didn't open, I don't know, just like random bits that I wish were like maybe in a bag. Like I had my speaker in there, my glasses in there, my vitamins in there, just like random stuff. Try and keep the stuff to a minimum. Do's and don'ts, anything you wouldn't recommend. Is there anything we did where I was like, probably wouldn't do that again? The Mount Batna, is that how you say it? Mount Batna hike is, I feel like, going to be hit or miss, because the whole thing is it's a risk that if you're going to get a good sunrise. Ours was below average, I think. Like the sunrise was like beautiful, but it was only there for, I'm not joking, about 30 seconds, and then it kind of went over, and it is super hard. So keep that in mind. And in terms of things to do in Bali, we paid like 17 quid for it, which was to be taken there, and it was like 2 hours away, to be fair, or like an hour and a half away, to be taken up the mountain and to be taken back, and you get like breakfast and stuff. But in terms of Bali, that's kind of spending. My friend, I think, did it for £11 and got an overnight accommodation like near there, so that's really good. But that's the one thing I'd say, like, maybe think of it something you definitely want to do, because I'm glad we did it. Like, I wouldn't have not done it because I wanted my own experience of it. But yeah, it can be a little bit risky if you get a good sunrise or not. Like, maybe try and do it on a day you know is going to be super sunny and like not that cloudy, and then hopefully it'll be a bit better. But all of the do's, all of those things that we did in my vlogs, 100% do. The water rafting in Ubud is so worth it. I feel like people don't really know it's there, but it's so funny. The beach clubs are good, like go, like Finn's was really good. Potato Head, I think we just did like the wrong day, wrong time, wrong vibe, because my friend really enjoyed it. But we went at like 5 thinking it would be an evening thing, literally ate dinner there and then kind of like left. La Favela in Seminyak you have to go to, literally the best like little club ever. It's not even little, it's so good though. Yeah, everything in my vlogs or like on my stories, like I thoroughly enjoyed everything we did. Is a month too long? Not at all. I would actually go for longer so that we could have more chill days in between, because there's a lot to fit in. Bali's kind of place that's like, yeah, you could go for a week and sit in Seminyak and kind of just like chill and not really do anything, and you still have a really good time. There's still loads to do in Seminyak. But if you're like 4 days in Seminyak, 4 days here, 4 days there, and you're like actively trying to see and do everything, there's so much to do. It's like you could go for as long as you wanted. I think if you went for any less, you'd enjoy it, but if you knew what there was, I feel like you'd think you would have missed out. Okay, did you need any vaccines? So I had mine, but the girls got Hep A, typhoid, and they already had tetanus, and that's kind of what you're told to get. Obviously you can get rabies and other things if you want it, but it's kind of like at your own risk. It's like if a dog bites you, you might need it kind of thing. But Hep A, typhoid and tetanus recommended. What to do about SIM cards, etc. So there's an app called Airalo, A-I-R-A-L-O, and you basically buy the SIM card, like an eSIM, for your phone. So we paid £20 for 10 gigs, which literally lasted us up until the very last day in Bali. So that was like perfect amount. And yeah, it's super easy. You just go on your settings and change it from your primary SIM to the travel SIM that you've bought, and you just get 3G everywhere. Anything unexpected that surprised you about Bali? I feel like there's probably a reason I screenshot this. Probably just how like safe we felt as like girls chilling, and how often you see people that you've met in different places again and again and again. Like we just constantly kept seeing the same people. Everyone there is super friendly. It's all just full of like backpackers, travellers, really lovely Balinese people. Is it actually worth the hype? Definitely, but don't expect Bali. If you've never been to like a Asian country or developing country or anything like that, don't expect Bali TikTok, because I feel like this goes without saying, but I don't know. I know the girls were a little bit shocked. Not shocked, but they were like, oh, like they quickly adjusted. But TikTok makes Bali seem like it's a fully developed kind of like wealthy country. It's still not. Like the streets are, there's not necessarily pavements, like the shop fronts aren't nice. It's like really clean, but if you've not been somewhere like that, like I'm saying, don't expect to like walk around and it's like the streets of like England, because that's not what it's like, and obviously that's not what it's like. But it's still really beautiful, and like I said, it's still really safe, and it's still like an amazing country. But yeah, it's definitely worth the hype, like 100%. It's like, I loved it so much. Literally one of like my favourite places, I think. But just don't expect Bali TikTok, because the majority of it isn't like that, if you know what I mean. Did you get Bali belly? Yeah, me and Imogen did. I'm sure she won't mind me saying that. It's not that deep. Obviously, I'm sure some people get it way worse than others, but yeah, it's not that bad. I think it's kind of inevitable. Although I'm convinced like Imogen did get food poisoning from some chicken we ate, because I took a picture of mine and my chicken was literally pink. And I think that's kind of everything. I don't want to make this video too long, I want it to be short and informative, but all in all, you can make Bali super fun and super reasonable, and I think it's a great place to go, especially if you're like a group of girls or whatever, even like guys, but I'm saying girls in terms of like safety and whatever. I'm sure a lot of countries like that are the same. I love Thailand, but I haven't been like by myself without my family, so I wouldn't know how I would feel in terms of safety there. Like I can't speak on it, but Bali was So fun, so good. Such a good place to go for like if you want a month away with the girls and you don't want to spend crazy money. Like you couldn't do a month in like Greece for that, if you know what I mean. But I mean, well, obviously it still costs like a fair bit of money. And yeah, I hope that was helpful. Let me know if you've got any more questions, leave them down below and I'll try and answer everything. And yeah, let me know if you go and let me know how it is, and if you've been, leave some tips down below. But I think I've covered pretty much everything while still trying to be snappy. Bye.